Shalom. Avi had felt sick to his stomach. He had just visited the new housing complex that Jews had purchased in the Silwan Valley, right outside the old city of Jerusalem, a mere couple of steps from where I'm filming this right now. With these homes were prime real estate. Avi had joined his fellow peace activists in protesting the Jews taking over of the Arab homes. One of the residents, his name was Carmi, had countered Avi's charge of theft by inviting Avi into his home for a cup of coffee. While Avi's friends had scoffed at the invitation, Avi felt himself open-headed enough to hear Carmi's defense, but not open-headed enough to let his brain fall out. Carmi had discussed this week's Sedra and its discussion of the purchase of a burial plot, actually a cave for Avram's family. This wasn't a mere purchase, it was Avram setting a foothold in his new land, and he was establishing a homeland for his descendants forever. The verse states the field of Ephron, which is in Machpelah, facing Mamre, was established as Avram's possession. This included the field and the cave that was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within its border around. After the field was established as Avram's, Avram buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah, facing Mamre, which is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave within it was established to Avram as a burial property, purchased from the sons of Chet. The Chaim ben Moshe ben Itar, was born in Morocco in the late 1600s and died in Yerushalayim in 1743. He was a prominent rabbi in Morocco, and the Chaim is mostly known as a Kabbalist, but like any real Kabbalist, unlike the phonies who claim to be Kabbalists today, he was an expert Talmudist, a Talmud Chacham par excellence, and was confused by the repetition of these verses. The verses mention that the field's establishment is Avram's when he began to pay for it, but then again after he buried Sarah. The Chaim didn't understand the redundancy. After all, once Avram purchased the property, that should have established it as his own. Yet when Avram buried Sarah in the cave, the verse reads that it again became established as Avram's. The Chaim explained that most purchases require just simple payment, and some even less, a mere pledge, to be considered complete. Some purchases are so important that merely paying the pledge is not enough. What makes a purchase so important that it requires more than merely paying? When the purchase has far-reaching consequences and ramifications, like the exchange of national property. When the people of Chet sold the cave to Avram, they understood that they were selling more than a cave. They were admitting to Avram and his descendants that this land was now eternally Avram's descendants' land. Similarly, Carmi explained to Avi that Jews had purchased, not confiscated, these homes from their Arab owners. Paying fair market price, if not higher, Carmi and his friends had purchased these homes to take over their land, much as Avram had so many years before. Just as Avram needed to do more than merely pay to establish his foothold in what God promised was his land, so too Carmi and his friends needed to move into their new homes as well. Avi had to agree, and much as he felt that this neighborhood belonged to the Arabs, if they sold their homes, who could argue that the Jews had confiscated and stolen them? If Carmi and his friends had wanted to live in their homes that they had purchased fair and square, who had the audacity to stop them? From Yerushalayim, Shabbat Shalom.